It's kind of funny, as the Celtics sit here today as NBA champions, it kind of feels ridiculous that we ever picked against them, because in hindsight, they were the obvious champions all along. 64 wins during the regular season, 16-3 in the playoffs, which is the third best winning percentage in the last 25 years. And they weren't just winning games, they were doing it insanely dominantly. They were one of 5 teams ever to outscore their regular season opponents by at least 10 points per game and their playoff opponents by 8 points per game, joining teams like the 2017 Warriors and 96 Bulls. And obviously I know why everyone was looking for every reason to pick against them. Yeah, it was like the Boston and the Celtics element of it where we all hate those teams and that city as a sports fan base. But like, there were also, some real issues where it's like, when you're a team like the Celtics that has consistently come up short in this era of Tatum and Brown, for whatever reason, I'm not going to leap and run to say, hey, I think this is the year they get it done. They don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. They're going to have to prove me wrong. And I'll happily admit when I'm wrong, like I am right now. And there's also, obviously, they've had a lot of fourth quarter, late game struggles with shot making and shot quality. And so how is that going to translate? I remember when they played Denver this year, that felt like, Denver won both of those games. And that felt like a real indictment of Boston, where it's like Denver's just generating all these quality shots late in games and Boston's struggling. And that felt like it was going to be the difference maker in the playoffs and what we thought was going to be a Denver-Boston finals. But they proved us wrong. Everyone on that team proved us wrong, and immense credit to everyone in that organization. I mean, Jason Tatum, yeah, okay, he wasn't the finals MVP and people are going to clown him for that, but again, it's easy to point out what someone isn't instead of what someone is. And what Jason Tatum is only the 6th player ever to lead his team in points, rebounds, and assists in a playoff run. Might not be finals MVP, but that's not nothing either. Jaylen Brown, Jaylen Brown's the ultimate example of what a difference a year can make. Because think back to this time last year. They lose in 7 games to Miami. He plays really horribly, specifically in that 7th game, and everyone's criticizing him. Doesn't have the left hand, gets that $300 million contract, and people are sort of criticizing him. Oh my God, he doesn't deserve it, all that stuff. And to think where he is now, a finals MVP, well-deserved, just massive credit to him. Al Horford, so awesome to see him get a championship after 17 years in the league, for him to be in Boston, leave and then come back, fall short in 2022 to finally get one. That must be a surreal feeling for him. Jrue Holiday, what more can be said? The ultimate winner. I think his sacrifice really set everything in motion, where he could have easily came in and been like, I'm an all-star, I've averaged 20 points a game, I want to be that guy. But no, he seems to have embraced his Andre Iguodala role, and it unlocked everything for the Celtics. Same with Derek White and Kristaps Porzingis. The sacrifices they made, specifically Porzingis, were similar to Holiday. I've been an all-star, I've averaged 20 points. He could have easily said, I want to be the focal point of the offense, but he took a step back, he sacrificed, and now he's an NBA champion. Joe Mazzulla deserves so much credit. Think about the situation this dude was thrown into. Just randomly name the head coach in September of, 2 years ago, and has to take over this team, and admittedly doesn't really know what he's doing, but he grew and he fought and he got better to where he is now, which is the youngest title winning coach since Bill Russell. Just massive credit to him for doing that, because that's not easy. Brad Stevens, going from the coach to the front office, that's not easy, and he didn't just do it, but he thrived in it. The trades this dude made, he was never settling, he was never content with fully running it back. His mindset was always, okay, how can we build around the Jays? And he makes these trades that, they weren't massive home run in the moment, they didn't shake the league necessarily, and some of them even came with legitimate question marks. I remember when they traded for Derek White, nobody knew who Derek White was, nobody cared who Derek White was, and I remember people actually being concerned, oh my God, should the Celtics have really given up an unprotected first? That seems like a lot for some random guy on the Spurs. That worked out insanely well. Trading the heart and soul of the team in Marcus Smart for an injury-prone big like Kristaps Porzingis, that was a risky move, because Marcus Smart meant so much to the Celtics team, but clearly it was the move they needed to make to, I think, really cement this as Tatum and Brown's team. And then I was even skeptical of the Jrue Holiday trade, because I didn't think it solved their playmaking, shot quality issues from the point guard spot late in games. I was wrong about that, I'll fully admit it. And so just for Ainge to just sorry, not Ainge, but I do want to give Danny Ainge credit, because that was my next point of, he obviously set the foundation with that KG and Pierce trade that got them Tatum and Brown. And that's not an easy trade to make, because you could have easily said, hey, Pearson, KG are guys, they're Celtics legends, like we're gonna ride them till the wheels fall off, like they deserve to retire as Celtics. But no, he made the tough deal and it worked out as well as it possibly could. But just back to Stevens for a little bit, like for him to just keep making these deals, to be so aggressive, like and to keep his foot on the gas, to never be content, it was just, and for each of those moves to work out insanely well. Just like, was he executive of the year? Because maybe he should be, I don't know. And it's funny to think about this team and how hated they are. And I know why we hate them, because again, it's not just any team, it's the Celtics, it's Boston, and everyone outside that city hates that team for obvious reasons. But it's just kind of funny to think about how if this team and this story was in any other city, we would love it. Think about it. Two homegrown stars who stayed and grew together and fought through the struggles together to emerge as NBA champions. Shrewd, aggressive moves to bring in, not just, pieces, but like the right pieces around the two stars, because that's obviously such an important element to winning a championship. It's not just the stars, but it's the guys around them. And Brad Stevens just hit home run after home run after home run. Likable guys like Horford, who finally gets his first championship, and Drew Holiday, who happily slid into a complimentary role. Like the sacrifices everyone made. An underdog coach thrown into the fire, unexpectedly, who was finally able to prove himself now. Like that's a great script for any team, but because it's Boston, it's, oh, we hate them. I hate seeing them win a championship. Again, I don't like Boston. I'm a Knicks fan, but like I can still recognize and acknowledge greatness and a great story, and that's exactly what the Celtics team is. Oh, but their path to the title was easy because they deal with injuries. Okay, A, not their fault. B, winning a championship is difficult under any circumstance. Like, think about it like this. All of Boston's previous shortcomings and all the injuries to these teams, it's the perfect example of how difficult it is and how easy it is for something to go wrong. So when it finally breaks right and you do win the championship, like, who cares how it goes? It takes an insane amount of luck to do it. It's a battle of attrition, as you saw in these finals, where, like the Celtics were the healthiest team, and sometimes that's just all that matters. And so, like, a championship is a championship. It's really difficult no matter what. So, like, who cares how it didn't happen? Who cares who you had to face along the way? You were still the NBA champion, and nobody can ever take that away from you. And like I just said, like, I might be a Knicks fan, and I might hate Boston objectively, but, one of the things I pride myself on in making NBA content is to always be objective and acknowledge greatness. And that's what this Celtics team is. They were great. They were great during the regular season. They were great during the playoffs. They proved everyone wrong. I think they were a bit more 2014 Spurs-esque than I think we might have realized, where it might not be this one overarching super megastar leading the way, powering everything they do, like the Mavs, but it was very, it was just size, skill, versatility, and unselfishness at every single position. And you just saw like they were just so unstoppable all season long because of it, and through the playoffs. And I think we were I'll speak for myself. I was constantly looking for reasons to pick against them, and some were valid, but I also think, the desire to root against Boston and all their previous shortcomings clouded what was right in front of us, which was just a historically dominant team. And for them to punctuate it, to put a bow on it with the championship, it feels right, it feels valid, it feels earned. I don't necessarily want to congratulate them, but at the very least, I will tip my cap to them because they more than deserve it.